Hello YouTube, welcome to RV Daydream. We're looking at a brand new, for me, brand, and it's a folding e-bike. This is going to be something that a lot of us RVers like to have because we can fit it in our pass-through storage a little bit easier. Still have to lift it up into the pass-through storage. We're going to get into the dimensions and everything else about this, so let's go to the intro, right back after that.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
So Baicycle, one of those stories that you have a founding member that comes to the realization that they're trying to find a cheaper way to do things. Some of the bikes that are out there, believe it or not, even though I'm never reviewing those types of bikes, some of these bikes that are out there, you know, are commanding $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. I think that's an extreme point to be at, price point to be at whenever it comes to e-bikes. But believe it or not, there's other countries that these are in much higher demand and they are much more practical than here in the US. However, in the US here, we're slowly finding cities and situations to where these types of bikes are becoming more practical. As you guys saw when we were full-time RVers, we had electric bikes almost the entire time, and they came in, you know, to be a pretty handy item, pretty valuable in certain circumstances that allowed us to travel and get to the places we needed to be without taking our, you know, our big tow vehicle, a crew cab long bed 4x4 truck. You know how these campgrounds are. Once you get into a spot with your vehicle and you park your truck, usually you have to jockey the truck in kind of sideways on the pad, kind of up underneath your fifth wheel. Maybe on your travel trailer you have to be to the one side of the tongue, and once you get it there and once you get it in place, last thing you want to do is, oh, let's hop on it to go to the store because we forgot milk. And if you're close enough to some sort of convenience store or even the camp store, it's kind of nice because you can just hop on one of these and get there. What's about Baicycle? Well, Baicycle, they came about looking at the price of the bikes and realizing that they were just outrageous. Now, this one's kind of a midpoint price, but I think you're going to see some differences in this one than any of the other ones that are out there. That's one of the main reasons that I agreed to do a review on this, because I think that this one's just slightly different. It looks different, it's built different. It's set up to be more of a cargo off-road bike than anything else. They do sell baskets for the front and the rear on this, but let's get this out of the box. I want to look at the packaging. That's always a telltale sign of how much the company, you know, is paying attention to their product. And then we'll assemble this, which I have a feeling is very little assembly, as you could tell by the box. I think it's folded up, and I think most of it's all together. Well, as expected, most of these companies have gotten on the right path, and they are trying to protect their components and the bike pretty well. And this one, no doubt, is the same. Boy, this is a heavy, dense pad here. That's kind of interesting. Oh, and they've done it down on the frame too. I know that you really can't see that. So, as I thought, it's pretty much not really much of an assembly on this one. So I'm just gonna take off the padding. Boy, they got it in here though. There we go. I'm gonna take this padding out, cut the wire ties off. We're gonna look at the components that come in the box, and that'll give us an idea of how much assembly is needed. But again, I don't see very much here. And it's packaged very well. I'm glad of that, because honestly, I don't know if you can tell, there's a big hole in the box here. You know, these shipping companies, they beat these things up pretty good. So, all right, so the accessory box was clipped in with a wire tie. We're gonna see what's inside here, because like I said, this kind of tells me how much assembly has to be done, and that's what I thought. That's nice. Folding pedals. We'll go ahead and cut these open so you can see what they look like. But yeah, these are, you push them in and then they bend in the direction to fold them for storage reasons. Whenever you're ready to ride, of course, you just flip them back out. Pretty straightforward there. Let's take a look at the battery charger. I'm assuming by the weight it's a 2 amp charger. That's just my guess. I could be wrong though. And it is a 2 amp charger. Pretty standard. It's not bad. It's like I said, it's standard, so there's nothing to be thought of there. Because there's so little assembly that's really needed, they only send off a 1315 and a couple of Allen wrenches. That's really all that's needed. And then one of the most important parts by far, the manual. It's nice. It's a quick assembly guide. And like I thought, there's really nothing to be done here, but the pedals and to plug in the power cable, which I'll talk about that. And then you can adjust your angle of your brake levers and such, and that's what the Allen wrenches are for. So let me go ahead and get this out and do all that. Of course, check the tire pressure. Okay, this is how the bike came out of the box after all the packaging was off. So essentially all I have to do is put on the pedals and then adjust the handlebars, like the brake lever angles, if that's even needed. That's a personal preference. The reason that I'm showing you this in this manner, in this state, is because this is different than all the other folding e-bikes that I've had in the past, in that they did decide to do something that I thought was probably a good idea with other folding e-bikes, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Put down in the comments. Did this get skinnier because they allowed the handlebars to fold in between? I think it is. I mean, this is pretty compact. Usually what happens is the handlebars fold on most and every folding bike we've had in the past. The frames come together and then the handlebars fold out, so you have what looks like a pretty compact situation, but then you have your handlebars out there. I think I like this. It's definitely different than anything I've ever seen, and as far as the look of it whenever it's folded, I think it looks smaller. I think the overall size is smaller. Now, don't think that this is some kind of a toy or something that can be thrown around. This is still 70 pounds. So this is a 70-pound, bulk. But I believe that this is smaller than the other folding bikes we've had in the folded position. Again, let's go ahead and put the dimensions up here, and you can get an idea of what I'm looking at here, because it's really hard to tell on camera. Yeah, this is unique when it comes to that, and the frame size. All right, let me unfold this thing. Let's do it on camera. Why not? I've never unfolded it. This is the first time. We'll see how easy it is. The pedals still need to be installed. Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. I mean, they all have like a latch once they get opened up. This one has a latch, yeah, latched over, okay. And you got your kickstand. That's fine there. You know what? They say that this is for riders that are 5'4" and taller, but I'm going to tell you that a lot of the e-bikes that we've done reviews on that have said that the bike is for riders 5'1" and taller, up to like 6'5", the seats have been higher than this. So I bet you Heidi could ride this just fine, especially since it's a step through. And then of course the handlebars just come up like this. Again, real time, I've never done this before. This is unique, this locking mechanism. And it does have a safety button that once it's latched, you got to push that button for it to become unlatched. Wow. Okay, let me get the pedals on. Let me give you some looks of this overall. It's all together. It's something different. There's a couple of little quirks about this thing I want to talk about, but the battery is, of course, part of the seat post. So what you see hanging underneath there is actually battery cells. I don't know how I feel about that quite yet. but it is a pretty good battery. It is a 15.3 amp hour battery. Now, again, your mileage is going to vary. I see an inchworm here. I'm going to try to knock him down real quick. They're telling you that it's going to be 62 miles per charge. Somebody like me that just likes to run the throttle only without pedaling, not so much. I don't think it's going to necessarily make that. Now, the tires on this are 20 inch. They're 20 by 3s. This is a semi-knobby. They try to make it to where the knobbies don't stand off terribly much because of noise. I mean, the tires actually make more noise than the motor does. And speaking of which, as far as the motor goes, this is a 750 watt brushless hub motor, and it has a peak of 1,000 watts. They're still going to call it a 750 watt motor, but cable activated brakes. They are dual disc. They seem to do pretty well. I've kind of run it around here in the driveway playing around with it. Charged it up, not fully, but up. I need to charge it fully. But it does have a locking mechanism here for your battery, so that's what these keys are for. You don't have to worry about somebody stealing everything. But the nice thing is it does have a plug here. You just unplug it, unplug this cord, unlock it, and you take the battery with you, bring it into your work, into your house, whatever, and you can charge it during the time that it's sitting, outside waiting for you to get back on it again. It feels pretty sturdy just because of its square build, and the welds on this look really good. They're doing a really good job with everything there. I'm impressed by that. Nice heavy rack on the front. You can put a basket on that. They sell separately, or your own. Same here. There's a place for the basket. Now, I do want to point out one thing that might have been thought out but not thought out, and they have a very nice LED here for the lights that are of course activated with the brake lights. Problem with that, well, if you have a basket back there or cargo, it's going to block it. Now, with that said, you guys know I've talked about this a ton of times. I don't believe in running the lights from the factory other than just aesthetics. The headlight does an okay job. Now, on this bike, the headlight does a little bit better than okay. It's got two nice bright lights there, but really, you need some aftermarket lights on here, especially the back, something that strobes. You've seen them, guys that ride their bikes, they're enthusiasts, and I'm talking about pedal bikes. When they're on the road, they have some really nice strobe lights. You need to get that to be safe on the road. I did pick a white color, comes in gray and black. Obviously, I want to be seen on the road as much as possible so I don't get run over. White seems to stand out a little bit more. These are spoked wheeled, but they're 12 gauge, the wire. Not that it's a shotgun. It's the gauge of wire. So you've got heavy gauge there, and that helps with the weight, overall on this. This is almost 270 pound range of bike. Seat's pretty comfortable. It has some sort of a poly spring in there, if you can see that. I like the way that it looks. It does have an entry-level Shimano tourney. Basically what that is a trigger shifter. It's a 7-speed. We got a horn. Well, it timed out. That's part of the settings. You can make it to where it don't time out, but I like it. You just hold that down for the headlight. Let's go back. Yeah, not terribly loud. I like that. Doesn't startle the people on the bike trail. So there's something that I missed whenever we had it folded. When you fold these bikes to put them away, to carry them or whatever to your, let's say your pass through of your RV, one of the problems that you have is it comes unfolded. I don't know how to describe that, but as you're moving it, it starts unfolding. They've got something here that's really cool. You see this tab right here? It's just a metal plate. And I wasn't sure what that was until I seen when this is folded, this is a magnet back here. This is a spring-loaded magnet. It's pretty strong. So it holds it in the closed position or the folded position. Of course you can unfold it. Of course that magnet's not going to do everything under the sun to hold it together, but it is kind of nice that they thought about that, because it is a pain in the butt that you get these things that unfold as you're trying to move them. For the biggest disadvantage that I see on this bike, because there's always going to be a con of some kind, has nothing to do with any of the bike frame, the design, or any of that. And I'll have to say it's something that I've never really experienced before on a bike and the way that it's engineered. But when you have this turned on, you have to have it on pedal assist 0 for the throttle to work. That's could be something that maybe you don't like. I don't know if I like it, but I've always had bikes that I could either pedal it and it would assist me, or if I got tired, I would just turn on the throttle and do it that way. This one, you either pedal for the power to be transferred to the motor through your pedaling, and the motor will assist you based on how fast you're turning the pedals and what pedal assist you have set, which there's 5 different pedal assist. So if you need all the power it can give you, you would put it up on number 5 and you would pedal the bike, and it would supply you with a lot of power to the motor as you're pedaling. But you can't grab the throttle and twist the throttle. It won't go anywhere. However, if you want just throttle only, you have to put the pedal assist to 0, and then the throttle works, but not the pedal assist. So I'm a little confused on that, because I've never had that happen before, and I don't see the advantage of that. I can see kind of a disadvantage, but other than that, the power seems to be pretty good. So let's go see what this thing's like. Before we go on a ride though, I wanted to point out one more thing. Adjustable suspension on the front. You can lock it out if you would like. That's something that I've never done personally myself, but you can adjust the rebound on the other side here just by turning this knob to the positive. That'll give it more pressure for the springs to be compressed. And it does have the guard around the shifter to help whenever you're transporting this. Again, you're going to be loading this in and out potentially of the back of your car or in your RV. So who does this really fit as far as buying these bikes? You know, everybody asks that. How fast does it go? How does it feel? Whatever. It feels fine. This is a traditional bike that you would get in any folding configuration. But I have a couple of good points on this one that stand above the rest, and that is when it's folded, I believe it's a little bit smaller. in size than whenever other ones we've had in the past are folded. And I like the handlebars without the adjustability of the up and down. I know some people want to bring their handlebars up higher. I don't. I prefer to ride in the lowest position. The same with the seat. I barely bring that seat up. As you can see there, I like to have it in a pretty low position. And the build of the bike feels very solid, very, very solid. I like the idea that the battery can come out so easily, so you can recharge it a lot easier. The idea that it's hooked into the seat post is kind of a unique but not unique. We've seen it with other bikes that we've done reviews in the past. There's something to be said about that. A lot of people are, I'll tell you, when we were in Florida, we saw people that ride their bikes to work every day. And so their bikes weren't taken, they would take the seats off or they would take the seat post out. Well, if they're going to do that, why wouldn't you take the battery with you and just charge it all while you're at work, so you have a full charge? It'll get you a little bit further. Again, 62 miles they're talking about range. Your mileage is going to vary. A heavy rider like me that likes to run throttle only, likes to be full throttle right, as soon as you take off and run it at its max, I'm not going to get that kind of mileage. I've always said this, and this holds true for almost every bike that we've had. I feel pretty comfortable doing 6 to 7 miles in one direction and then returning. So 12 to 15 miles round trip. And that's really all I do. I don't go on any kind of real long hikes with bikes. We've done that in the past. Heidi and I did one that was 20 some miles, and we ended up pedaling like the last, 5 miles back. And no matter how much these bikes are considered bicycles with pedals, they are definitely not engineered with the idea of the primary drive function being a person's legs and riding the bike for a long period of time pedaling. That's why they're heavy bikes. That's why they're shaped the way they are. They are designed to be powered mainly. So when you take away that power and you get into the ergonomics of a bike that wasn't really built necessarily for riding and pedaling without power exclusively, you're going to notice that. So the links are going to be down in the description. Click the link, it'll take you to this bike. Again, you can get it in white, gray, black. I suggest you get it in the brightest color available just to be seen. However, some people like the black look. It looks more rugged, it looks more military. The gray look is kind of an in-between. The white may look a little bit on the lady side, I guess you could say. And they also make one that's not a step through, but a high bar. Well, I prefer the step through personally myself, but that's up to you. Again, link will be down below for this. And as always, guys, we hope to see you out there. Bye.